Hi, my name is April, and I'm going to share some of my secrets with you today. I don't have any flash note cards and sad music I'm going to play, but I guess I'll start at the beginning. I was born a drug baby, meaning that when my mother was pregnant with me, she was doing ridiculous amounts of drugs, the hard ones: speed, cocaine, meth, heroin, you name it, she was on it. So naturally, when I was born, there was quite a few problems. They had to actually give me small doses of cocaine and heroin to wean me off of it. And as my dad loves to tell the story, I was actually supposed to die. The doctors told my dad that I was dying as they were delivering me, and by some godly miracle, I survived. Dad likes to say I was saved by God. At just a few months, maybe 3 or 4 months, my mother abandoned me. She left me with my grandparents and didn't bother to raise me. To her, I guess the drugs were more important. My grandparents raised me for about 2 years or so. And then my dad met my stepmother, who, as I like to call her, Satan in human form. I don't really remember much of my childhood, just because I kind of try to block it out. But my earliest memory is being kicked in the face and having my jaw dislocated at 2 years old because I climbed up on my dresser. My stepmom abused me mentally, physically, emotionally, in every way possible. A lot of kids, you grew up with your mom tucking you into bed and making you cookies when you were sick and all that kind of stuff, but I grew up with my mom calling me a waste of space, slamming me into walls and choking me if I looked at her wrong. I grew up being called worthless, a piece of shit, the devil's spawn. Constantly I was just told the most horrible things, and I know they weren't true, but at the time I grew up and I believed it, and it's still kind of programmed into my head that I'm worthless and that I'm a piece of shit. I've gotten counseling for it, but it's still kind of programmed in there, and it's really hard to change something that you've heard for years and years and years. She'd tie me or chain me to my bed if I didn't do chores right. There was actually a few times where she tried to kill me. If I do a chore wrong, I would get stripped down completely naked. I'd have to stand in the living room, and she'd grab my dad's belt and whip me until I was basically bleeding. I went through hell as a kid, but I realized that it could have been a lot worse. I know people out there have it a lot worse than me. That doesn't make what she did right, but I guess what matters is I'm still here, and I'm still alive, and I made it through it. At 11 years old, when I was about in 6th grade, my brother-in-law molested me, my sister's husband. It wasn't fully rape, but it was pretty close. I didn't tell anyone for a really long time, actually. I told my stepmom, and she didn't do anything about it. She didn't tell my dad, she didn't take it to the cops. She told me that I was lying, and that I deserved it. Finally, in 8th grade, I told somebody, and it, was taken to the cops right away. I had to give a statement, and it finally went to court when I started high school. I went to about 15 court hearings where I had to see him and be around him, and the justice court system didn't do shit. He didn't even end up in jail for it. I guess, I mean, something happened. He has to pay me and he has to go to classes, but apparently molesting an 11-year-old isn't enough to land you in jail, but getting a few DUIs is. I started cutting in about 6th or 7th grade after being molested. You know, I wore the dark black clothing and I listened to the Marilyn Manson music, and I was just a completely different person. I was depressed. I tried committing suicide well over 5 times. My life was just hell. I've been threatened with a gun to my head by one of my dad's friends because I was trying to save the wife that he was beating on. I've been constantly told by my own family that I'm fat, that I need to lose weight, that I need to stop eating so much, sorry about that, that I'm lazy and I'm not good for anything. When you grow up hearing that kind of stuff, you start to believe it after a little while. Someone tells you you're worthless enough times and you're like, you know, if I hear it this much, it must be right. I must be worthless. But the thing is, I know I'm not. It's just hard to deprogram that. I lost my little brother just a few months ago. He was shot, you know. Getting that phone call was probably the hardest thing that I've ever had to hear. Hearing that my 16-year-old brother is suddenly dead and that I'm never going to see him again. I haven't had an easy life, you know, but nobody ever has an easy life. Life isn't meant to be easy. It's supposed to be hard, and you're supposed to go through so much bullshit that you just want to give up. But what matters is that you get through it, and that you power on, and you rise out up above it, and you win. That's all I kept thinking as I'm growing up, is that I need to win. I can't let these people win. I need to show them that I'm not worthless, and I need to show them that I'm not weak. I think out of just pure stubbornness that I survived everything. So I'm not making this video for people to pity me. I don't want attention or people to be like, oh, look at that poor girl. I want people to watch this and realize that no matter how bad life gets, it gets easier. You can get through whatever you're going through. Whether it be just problems at home, struggling with school, bullying, rape, any of it, you can get through it. You just have to realize that you are not a worthless person, that you have meaning and value, and that you can do anything that you put your mind to. I had a horrible life, and a part of it is still horrible, but I'm not going to give up, because I know that God gave me this life for a reason, and I'm not just going to throw it away because things get hard. You have to have faith, and you have to believe that you're stronger than you'd like to admit. And now I don't expect this video to get a ton of notes and reblogs, and I don't want that. I just want people to watch this and realize that no matter how bad it gets better. I promise. And if you've actually watched this whole almost 9 minutes, I'd like to thank you and I appreciate it. And happy holidays, everybody. Mwah.